Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
The guys and gals.
Oop, that was a short show. All right, so welcome everybody to the Daily Gun Show, and we're restructuring the show, so we're not sure what I'm going to say in the beginning there. I think we're staying at the same schedule for now, but we come to you every day, and that's what we call the Daily Gun Show. And we have some hosts. We got Bob jumping in from Canada. Thanks for joining.
Hey, how is everybody going? We're back.
And then we got Smeggy jumping in from Michigan.
Hey, how's everyone doing tonight?
You know, I'm down here in Tucson. I don't know if anybody else is going to jump in tonight, and I'll start off by saying sorry for yesterday's show. It was kind of bad, but that's what happens when you do it live, right? And we were off schedule. We don't have any schedule, and we don't have any schedule today, so hopefully we'll keep it on the road. But thanks everybody for joining up, and we will dig into the remnants of the schedule from the old format. But I guess looking back at the show now, Bob, 527 episodes. How many times did we change the format up? Not just the time slot, but the format.
Not that many.
I was going to say at least 3, I think. We started out with the whole radio station angle, and then we eventually got to this. And I know there was at least something in between there. So it was at least.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, they were few and far between. We basically tried to keep it the same. But, obviously that's going to have to change.
Oh.
I mean, the general concept, once we got to having different segments or whatever, that stuck for a while. It's just we kept changing like the overall topics here and there. When we rescheduled to, okay, we'll talk about Tuesdays, we'll talk about Second Amendment on all 3 segments, like a different version of it or whatever.
Yeah, we did several of those kind of tweaking changes.
And at some point we went from 90 minutes down to an hour. And that was a big one because I think for a while that we were sprawling out to as long as we felt like every day.
Oh, yeah, it was some days we didn't really have anything to talk about. We just babbled.
That's kind of like every day for you, Bob, so,
Well, it's kind of what the show's about, too, I think. It was to some extent, we wanted it to be a headlight for other shows. So we wanted to just do something in the middle of the day for a while there. We wanted to do something at the, I don't know, whatever time slot Hank Strange is now. Remember, for a while there, we were before all the primetime shows. So,
yeah, it was like 7 Eastern, which worked out great for me. Get home from work, eat dinner, and then do the show.
Yeah, that was actually the one that screwed everybody because you and Dano and everybody that schedule worked pretty good. And I don't remember if it was Z's schedule also. Everybody's work schedule worked good. And then we changed it to noon, I think, for some reason, to try to, again, cut new ground. And that wasn't a great move either. But I think this one's been overall decent. Just, I guess it's too late for people to stay up. Now it's for everybody.
The schedule works for me as far as what time the show goes on. I'm kind of a late night person anyway, so.
Yeah, we got live people watching, so some people are awake, obviously.
Yep.
So did anything happen today or overnight that's worthy to mention?
That's a good question. I don't think I've been watching any news, like current news. I've been watching old stuff.
I did see one thing, and it's for something coming up tomorrow. I saw the thing today, but the Illinois Senate is going to be hearing some anti-gun bills. They already passed the House, and now they're in the Senate. So I don't know if it's like a full, the public can show up and, talk and all that stuff, or if it's just like the committee people talking. But at least if you're in Illinois or really anywhere, write the people over there, write the senators and say, hey, we don't want gun control.
I think it's beyond writing senators. Right now we're in a war of a societal war or cultural war. And I think it's, the people who are our employees, the representatives, for sure. We should have that in our speed dial or whatever, equivalent on the email, but in our contact list. But I think we should be talking to manufacturers and departments of tourism and industry in these states, because this is ridiculous. This is swaying rights based on manipulation, and that this should be scrutinized and there should be consequences. It's sad that they're able to, it seems like, sweep through with a bunch of crazy stuff out of nowhere because they got a little momentum. And it's, I don't know if everybody is just shell shocked or what, but I mean, we've acted, it seems like, in unison for much smaller infringements in the past. Maybe I'm just not noticing it, but I've noticed, except for Military Arms Channel, I haven't seen much on the Instagram, at least. That's where I do most of my paying attention. And of course,
I think you might start seeing stuff on Instagram because Instagram's talking about blocking any pictures of firearms.
I haven't heard that. I know some of the other platforms have, but those are like dating platforms or something. I haven't seen Instagram move towards that.
Yeah, I think that's the rumor I'm hearing. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that because they can push these media companies, it's so easy for them to get pushed. And a lot of them are run by fairly left-leaning or people who may not like the idea of America having the freedom of firearms. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, as long as we still have freedom to talk about them, I think that's good. But, I mean, I see the time where it's going to be considered pornographic to show a picture of a gun. And I think that's kind of getting scary.
Well, yeah. And that was like that dating thing. I forget whichever one it was, but in their statement, they were like, here at, wherever, we don't support violence. It's like, okay, great. I don't either. That doesn't mean I don't want a picture of my gun in my profile. Like, I want to meet someone that I can go to the range with. Like, how else am I supposed to find those types of people? But anyways, that's a cultural thing of just like, oh, it's a picture of a gun, they're supporting violence. And I don't know how to change people's minds on that. It's, I guess, just keep reminding and keep talking to like everyday regular people. It's like, hey, we're not monsters. Like, we just happen to own guns. It's no big deal. And it's harder if people know someone like in person that's a gun owner. It's harder for like the media and the other people that are like, oh yeah, guns are all evil and bad. And they're like, yeah, but Frank has guns and he's nice. Like, what's the big deal with that?
Well, I think it may be part of the whole, I hate to say it, but like this whole idea that if they can push us underground, right, so that we don't talk about the fact that we own guns and stuff like that, they can marginalize us enough that they actually, it gets easier and easier for them to take the rights away. And I hate to see it, but it sure looks like that's what's happening. Sure looks like there's somebody thinking about this stuff.
That was the push in '94, and it worked. And you get people that are fly-by-night gun owners, and they're, okay, that's too much hassle, too much burden. Wasn't that interested. I can shoot this other thing. I don't have to shoot. I can play golf, whatever the other area of interest is. And then, yeah, you make it where it's unacceptable to talk about it that's not even unacceptable. They're manipulating that. They're not allowing, in a lot of ways, for us to talk about it casually, right?
Censorship.
Well, it's not censorship. It's just manipulation of their platforms, and that's our own fault for being beholden to their platforms. So use their platforms as they're useful, and then be aware of the other options that are out there. This is still a free internet. Facebook might have a large presence on it, but they don't own it.
No, but it gets much harder if you take some of these things that are, like I say, the big platforms like Instagram and these, just using an example, but YouTube, YouTube's gotten very anti-gun. How long do you think it'll be before, if you just show a gun, you're going to get a strike?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So
never, or at some point, either way.
But as long as we're allowed to still talk about it, then we still have a voice. But if they can silence us, like I say, it's a way of silencing firearms owners. Now, right now, it just may be images. How long before they decide just talking about them, right?
I don't know how we got ever into that, but where do we start from?
Well, I would have to say it's probably Smeggy's fault because he's here and he's not usually, so I blame him.
Well, we can go.
All my fault? Okay.
You go into the first topic then. So it's sort of the same topic anyway. Is Trump going to help us probe 2A or hurt us overall? It's going to hurt us overall because he's reactionary and he already reacted to manipulation through media. So he's shown that he's got no backbone at all, and he definitely isn't Second Amendment. He's barely, what do they call pro-gun and voice only or some shit? Pro-gun and name only? Is that a thing?
Well, he's not as pro-gun as we hoped he was going to be, but I don't know. I mean, you got to remember, right now, he wants to be popular. He wants people to like him. And
Hanging? Pro-gun and name only? Pronging?
It doesn't quite work as good as Rhino.
Well, pro,
which is
pro, G, prog, ing, in name on, progino. The progino.
Progino.
Proginos.
Yeah, if you got to move your hands when you say it, it makes it sound better.
Put the PRO in there, and then it's progino.
Progino.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know whether, I don't really know. I get such a weird read on Trump. Like, I don't know what he's doing. So is he anti-gun? I don't know.
Yeah.
Pro-gun?
He certainly is acting anti-gun with the bump stock thing and raising the limit to 21. Like, he supported that.
He's acting very reactionary, but he still seems to just be like, a lot of what he said, like, okay, get rid of the bump stock. But he's also, at the same time, he's going, but teachers can carry guns. And we're going to have more armed security for the schools. This kind of stuff. So it's like he's anti-gun, or like at least he's willing, it seems, he's a deal maker, right? And I get the feeling that he's going, okay, give him the bump stocks. Maybe we'll give him the fixed NICS. But we're going to get these, armed teachers in schools. We're going to get less, because he has been realizing that this whole, gun-free zones are bad. I mean, that you're hearing that all over the place now, and like in the more mainstream media. I mean, just with the whole arming teachers thing. So he is pro-gun in that way. He knows that it takes a gun to stop, like a good guy with a gun to stop a bad guy with a gun. I just think he's such a deal maker. He's going to make a deal that we're going to find untenable, which is any deal that takes away rights.
Yeah, it's set out there in the chat, summed up perfectly. We never get anything in return. So, I mean, all the people that say, well, if we just compromise a little, it'll be okay. The problem is their position is no guns ever. They say, we're going to get rid of all the guns. And we say, wait, let's make a deal. Only take half my guns. And they say, yeah, okay. And then they come back later and say, hey, we want all of your guns. You say, wait, let's make a deal. Only take half of them. It's that whole cake thing all over again. We barely have a slice of cake left. They've been chipping away at it. And every time we get one little sprinkle or one little piece of frosting back, they take a whole nother slice. And so, I mean, if he's trying to make a deal, he's making a crappy deal, for sure.
I don't disagree with you, but I agree with right before that what Enrique said is that the problem is that the 2A community is way too silent, and that's what I agree with. So you're right, and I don't agree with we don't have anything, we never get anything in return because we don't ask for anything, hardly ever. When's the last time we asked for something? Barely the reciprocity, barely the shush or the hush or the share, whatever the hell the Hearings Act was in its various forms. Aside from those couple of instances, we don't ask for enough. If we would have been asking for them to justify NICS, they couldn't have been pushing for fixed NICS. Right? They would have been justifying NICS as it is. We could have been pushing for removal in NICS, and they would have been satisfied to say, well, leave us have NICS at least. So I don't want to just sit around shaking our fists at the sky when really we're the ones who are affected. We're the ones who are, it's our call to be ever vigilant. There's nothing in the Constitution that says sit back and relax. It's on autopilot. I think the framers said things like liberty requires, or what is it? Liberty requires what the hell's it?
Like vigilance or something.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact quote.
Vigilance all the time. You always have to be vigilant if you want to have liberty. You have to constantly. We're one generation away from it being gone, and I think we're seeing that evidence of that right now. So Hadi had a couple of good points here too. I'm gonna scroll back up to his one from earlier. Oh, there's Jimmy. There's Jimmy.
Just coming in to punch his time card.
Friggin' time change, man. I don't know. I get a hold of it in the mornings, and then in the afternoon I lose it.
So Hadi said a long time ago, nationwide school walkout is tomorrow, so we can talk about that as well. But then he keeps saying that we're punch drunk. So what does he mean by this punch drunk? Elaborate. We are fighting with ourselves and pushing allies to the outside and wondering why we stand alone. I guess so. I don't disagree with that necessarily, but at the same time, I can understand the idea that I think Yankee is always championing that you can't stand shoulder to shoulder with people that aren't with you. I mean, that's true. You can't fight with people who ain't going to fight, especially when you need to there's a fight on, when there's a battle.
Right, but I think some of that, and it would kind of probably depend on which ones we're talking about and whatnot, but like...
Right, okay, so I'm thinking of like, what's his face with the magazines and the Daniel Defenses and the Terrans and that kind of business. If we're going to insist that our allies are devoted to the second, I don't think that's a misguided. I don't think that's dividing us in a bad way, I guess.
Right. No, I can see that, but I've always described it. You've heard it before on here that we're pushing a big boulder down the street, and maybe some people want to only go 2 miles, other people want to go 10 miles. Well, that's great, but we're arguing at the starting line. Well, I want to go 10. Well, I only want to go 2, and let's fight about it and not push the thing. And so my thing is like, let's at least push it. When we get to 2 miles, then all the other people can split off and say, well, I don't think we need to go all the way 10 miles. Like 2 is good enough. But at least let's roll that direction. Right now, we're rolling backwards and getting, pushed backwards. But we're still fighting of, I want to repeal the NFA, and the other person's like, well, let's just get rid of suppressors or something. It's like, we don't need to fight about that yet. We're not even near that yet. Let's at least head that direction. And then if you want to stop pushing when you get the part that you want and not the rest, like, okay, fine. Then I'll push by myself. I don't care. But there is some of that of like, fighting at the starting line or behind the starting line when it's like, we're not even going the right direction right now. So that's where I say it. I know maybe I'll get some flack for this, whatever. I don't mind the NRA as long as they're helping with some of the stuff. And when they say something stupid, I'll be like, well, that was stupid, but at least they're helping with other stuff. Then that'd be fine. But when you start going, well, they compromised a little bit and I don't want to compromise at all, so screw them, then that is us fighting each other. And we're not getting that 10 miles down the road. We're, fighting at the starting line.
So a couple of points. Hadi says punch drunk, meaning we're being hit from every angle and our heads are spinning from the effect. So I can totally understand what he's talking about there, because that's what's happening, right? I mean, can you even keep track anymore? Even with, systems in place to try, and people who are abundantly looking to know what this information is. It's everywhere constantly right now. It's everywhere, and it's springing up out of nowhere, and it's happening quickly. So I can totally understand what you're saying there. I think what Ghost mentioned here, instead of always defending, why can't we pose our own attacks with sharing reciprocity? I remember having these discussions, I guess it was right after the trip, right after Vegas and before shot in that time frame. And everybody was saying, I guess it was when HR 38 was getting shelved or whatever. And everybody was saying, do we push again with that, or do we have multiple hits? And what's winning here? I mean, they didn't come at us with one thing that they all got behind, although there are big ones. There's an assault weapons ban. There's massive infringements on the horizon at the federal level. But they're wailing on us with shotgun effect, right? With just massive machine gun fire. And mostly frustrating because if they succeed in this, then why would they stop? Why would they stop? Why would they not just keep doing it until we get our shit together?
Yeah.
If we ever are able to get our shit together.
Oh yeah, I mean, just look at all the state level stuff. I mean, it's when I did the Every Second Matters like summary thing, which is normally 10-15 minute video. It was like 45 minutes this past month because of all the stuff that was introduced in February.
Discussing it, just describing it, not discussing it.
Exactly, and near the end, I was just reading a state, giving the name, and saying, "Oh, that's another trigger activator ban." And then reading the next one, oh, that's another raise the age to 21. Oh, here's another whatever background check thing. Like it was nuts. I was ripping through them fast, and it took me a long time. But I don't know. I mean, you mentioned shot. That was one of the things I took the time when I was talking with people to ask them, what they thought of, hearing protection, like you said, whatever form. I guess it was still in share. It was wrapped up into that, or reciprocity and all that. And a lot of the people like at the booth or whatever, granted, they're just, they're trying to sell their stuff or whatnot. But it's like I was disappointed in their just like, it's probably not going to pass, or whatever. I guess it'd be nice, maybe. I was just like, really? Like, I thought it would be a lot more uproar about it, and that was the waters were calm at that point, right? I mean, they weren't introducing a bunch of stuff, and then just a month later, we're getting attacked like crazy, and we're all on defense. So I'm not sure what the anti-gunners do to get their stuff blown through in like a week and a half, but we need to learn from them and get our stuff blown through in a week and a half. Share's been on the table for 9 months or whatever.
Because we don't capitalize, we don't exploit a situation that has the momentum of media manipulation behind it, and a drive that's a media that's sympathetic to that position or that push, right?
When's the last time you saw a story, somebody pulls a handgun and defends himself and drives off 2 shooters, right? You'll read it in an NRA magazine or something like that. Will it be on the news? Maybe local.
Well, how about the last time somebody lived their entire life owning firearms and then nothing became of it, and then they eventually lived a healthy, long life and passed their guns on to their kids, who also lived healthy, long lives with all those inherited guns and the guns that they accumulated over their lifespan, and then nothing became of it, and then they passed along their inheritance to their kids, and so forth and so forth. When has that ever been a news story? Because that's the actual what's happening in the vast majority of every single gun in this country.
That's not news, right? I mean, that's what I say. The whole thing is that's never going to be news.
That's fine.
I know it's fine, but that's why they always have an opportunity to capitalize on something horrible happening. And because they want to target guns, anytime something with a gun that's horrible happens, they target guns. They don't target drunk drivers when a drunk driver hits a busload of kids and kills a bunch of kids. No. Mothers against drunk driving, but how small is that group? It's not very big.
Here's the thing. No, they actually, the MAD is a pretty good example. I mean, they are a very proactive group. But the difference is, here's the difference, Bob, that they're targeting the drunk driver. They are targeting the act of drunk driving. So that would be the equivalent of, instead of gun control, like murder control. So that's the difference. Like MAD has done a lot of stuff, but they're targeting specifically, people that are acting irresponsibly. They don't care. They don't sue the car manufacturers. They don't sue Budweiser. They don't sue Jack Daniels. They go after the actual person. And so that's the difference.
Doing like people who serve them the alcohol, that's happened. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it is. And why is that? Why is it that they just go after it? Guns are demonized, and they're demonized by people who don't like guns.
So we got off of that one quite a bit, I think. But there was also some comments out here about the NRA. I saw some longer one earlier from somebody blue steadily. The NRA does bad stuff, but they are the biggest organization fighting for guns, biggest influence. What happens when they are gone, because we hate them and the liberal anti-gunners hate them. I don't think the NRA goes away because it's always going to be a piece of history. But what would happen if the NRA wasn't the largest organization anymore? Is that necessarily a bad thing? Then what would the antis do if they didn't have the NRA as a punching bag?
Yeah, see, I think that there would, if let's say something happened where the NRA, and let's be fair with them, you know, a lot of the other stuff they do has nothing to do with political stuff, right? I mean, the training and the safety things and all that, you know, whatever. But let's say the ILA goes away.
So,
I think just the
commission so that they're back to just gun safety and Eddie Eagle and shooting competitions. And at that point, how can Clinton even suggest that the NRA is influencing politicians, that the gun industry, the manufacturers are somehow profiting on blah, blah, blah? You know, how can they say that if there was no NRA?
Right. And here's the thing, though. I think the GOA or the FPC or the Second Amendment Foundation or any of those, they would kind of step up, and you know, the media would just learn to say GOA instead of NRA, and they would still have a boogeyman. And I think people, you know, that want to protect their rights would still spend their money on an organization that helps protect their rights. So that's realistically, I think, what would happen if the NRA like went bankrupt tomorrow and got rid of the ILA. One of the other ones would step up,
well,
and then they would just become the new bad guy. But it'd be nice to have 3 or 4 people for the media to try and, you know, pin down all the time.
And that's what Ghost brought up. He's saying something like it would be great if they all worked together. I don't think it would, because the same reason we don't have Marines and Army and Air Force and Navy all lumped together in one unit. We want to be able to fight from all different directions and angles and campaigns and theaters. And they all call for different types of attack. So we got courts, we got lobbying, we've got our state and local. So I don't think one organization or even an alliance of organizations, and I don't think it's good for us to be dependent on some kind of Justice League of gun owners' rights groups. I think it's better for us to just be Minutemen and use these groups like the rest of our tools. That's where the power is, right?
Yeah, that and in your vote.
Yeah, depending on shit is why we got where we're at now, in my opinion.
Ghost is yelling really loud.
Yeah, and then he's pretending like he didn't know he had caps lock on. Oops, I'm sorry, didn't know I was caps locked. Yeah, right. You know what you're doing.
Why is Ghost yelling?
I don't know. Well, basically, he's just saying if the gun manufacturers put pressure on all 3, they'd come together.
Basically, shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed.
Yeah, basically. Well, he's saying it'd be nice. Maybe, I don't know if he's saying it'd be nice, but he was just saying if all the big gun manufacturers came together and put pressure on, well, I think he's talking about all the different groups, then they would all kind of do the same thing. But I don't want to rely on the manufacturers to do it either. I like the appeal of having, you know, if a group that has $1 million, but they got $1 from 1 million people, you know, that is way more power. And that is one of the things when you look at the different lobbyist groups. That's why NRA does have some clout to them. When they tell a senator, hey, we're going to back you in this race, don't vote for this thing, that senator knows it's not just money coming in. Because I saw a whole thing, like as far as the money they give, it's nowhere near like the top lobby people. And when you look at each individual like person, the amount of money they got from the NRA is like less than 1% of their whole campaign. It'd be the equivalent of like, you know, whatever your job is, and someone coming up saying, hey, I'll give you $5 to change your mind on something. You're gonna be like, well, no, dude, like I don't need it. Like that's $5 is not going to break the bank. It's the same equivalent. So the whole idea that they completely flip flop because the NRA tells them to is ridiculous. But we are way off the topic of well, it kind of brings back to Trump, right? Because Trump was supposedly like, you know, he was endorsed by the NRA and stuff, and he is not being pro-gun as of late.
So can the NRA ask for their money back? I wonder. Makes sense.
I don't know because they're
Yeah,
kind of supportive of that kind of stuff, too, they're kind of supportive of that kind of stuff, too, a little bit. But
You had a
whatever,
deep.
I don't want to just rag on the NRA and whatnot. I think we've gotten pretty good on this topic. Maybe
Yeah.
we should move on to the next one.
Yes. Let's talk about the I don't know, gun of the day.
Oh, you want to jump all the way to there? I was gonna jump into my self-defense story.
Oh, well, you can do the self-defense story first.
Okay, but before the second segment of the show, like between the first and segment, we like to feature a member, which I see now is blank. So I don't know. Do you guys want to pick someone? Jimmy, pick someone.
Do Tony.
Okay.
We haven't mentioned Tony in a while. He helps. He co-hosts the
Artisan Tony? Artisan?
No, Tony York. Well, we haven't done either one in a while, so I don't know.
Let's do the.
Everyone in the world named Tony is the member of the day today.
Let's do.
Yeah, good job, guys.
More specifically, though, the guy who jumps in on the early watch all the time and is from Illinois.
Yes, Tony from Illinois. He's a cool guy. I like him. I also like Artisan Tony, although him and I have to sit down over a beverage and discuss unions. I think it would be fun.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So
yeah,
anyways,
I like them both. So.
That's the member of the day there, Tony, who, like I said, jumps in on early watch with Jimmy and other people.
Yeah, definitely runs the early watch Instagram, early watch email. So yeah, he's putting in a lot of work over there. And Bob, are you sitting next to a fire? Because every time you talk, you're like crackling.
No, maybe I got a crackling mic.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not as annoying as some other people with crackling mics, but I'm just ignoring it until Jimmy brings it up, and then I can hear it again. It's like that thing, once you see it, you can't unsee it. But anyways, let's jump into the second topic here, which is the second, or the self-defense story of the week. And this one brings up that, when people say, oh, you don't need guns for self-defense because, like, we'll just have more cops that will catch more criminals, or blah blah blah, whatever, or just give them your wallet and run away, like you don't have to fight back, and blah blah blah. This story brings up a very good point of why self-defense is important. So, one hunter saved the life of another one who was being mauled by a bear. The two were scouting for deer in Chicago Island in Alaska. They literally took Chicago and put an F at the end of it. Chicago off Island. They heard a wolf, and then a brown bear emerged from the brush, charging at them. Troopers wrote in a media release about the shooting. The bear, a sow that was with two cubs, pinned one hunter on the ground and started clawing him before the other hunter sighted in and shot the bear. The man who was mauled was airlifted to the hospital, where he's treated for his injuries. And that comes from ADN.com, Juneau, Alaska, October 2nd, 2016.
If that ever happens, up and punch the bear in the eyes.
Yeah, now when you're on the ground, can't you put your arms up and scream and act like you're bigger than it or something like that?
Yeah. No,
Right.
what you got to do is kick him in the knee, right? Because he's on top of you. Just kick him in the back knee, and he'll let you go. Yeah.
Okay, well, that didn't seem to work for this guy, so
He
anyway,
didn't have wits about him.
That's right.
it is a reminder when people say, well, why are you so scared? You don't need guns. I live in a nice neighborhood. There's not much crime, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you're out in the wild, and sometimes bears attack you.
I've heard there's bears in San Francisco.
That's a whole nother kind of attack, though.
Kick him in the knee, run away.
Yeah, that might work for that too. But
Punch in the eyes.
yeah, I don't know. I thought that story was interesting. It was just
Yeah, it was, and I mean that's more.
Talk about the cubs that they were where they're doing weird things to, and that's where the mom was just defending her babies.
Yeah, that's true. The cubs probably then died of starvation, so that's kind of sad. That's a sad story, Smeggy, all around. I mean, some guy gets chewed up by a bear. They have to kill it. The poor cubs starved to death. The mother died defending her cubs, and the cubs starved to death. Boy,
Sounds like a Disney
downer.
movie.
I know it's that's a downer movie though. Truly. Oof.
Well, you know, sometimes life is not cut and dry, black and white. Complication. And yeah, I agree with you. It's sad, especially if the Cubs went and blah blah blah. But I'm still a humanist in the fact that human life is more important than animal life.
Some human life, yeah.
Yeah, it depends on what
I
human
mean,
you're
if
talking
the
about.
guy was a tree hugger who was like going out there and going, "Hunty devil, it's cruel," and standing up there and the bear mauled him, I would be like, I don't know, maybe that's the way he'd want to go, right?
It was natural.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be the most natural burial ever, right? You get out later and buried again. What the heck?
Oh, jeez. Anyway, so
There we go.
let's move on to the gun of the day, Bob.
Oh, we want to talk about the gun of the day? So, actually, why don't we make this part of the quiz? Because nobody's going to guess it.
All right, hold on.
Nobody's going to guess it.
I don't got no sound effects. Getting it from all angles.
There you go.
All right, go ahead, Bob. You're ready to go.
So, what firearm is being cycled? Any guesses?
There's a guess for
Can you run it
Glock
one
42,
more
but I'm
time?
pretty sure that's not it.
One more time. Now I'm cycling the action twice just in case somebody thinks, "Wow, that sounds
Yeah.
complicated."
That was a long cycle. Well, no, yeah, okay.
Not a VZ, not an AK, not a SIG, not a shotgun, not an M1A, not a 1911. Grand's closest so far.
I think Rupian has it.
Big boy 357 lever. Is that a model name, Big Boy?
I don't think so. I think that's how he refers to Bob.
Oh,
Realized that he was in the public.
are you watching the YouTube side, Bob? Are you gonna?
Oh no, I don't have anything else. I'm down to one computer right now.
Oh, is anything we said close enough yet, or no?
No, I think I want the particular model. So
I didn't even know what the model was until earlier today.
I know. Okay, let's just give me the generic name and the caliber, and we'll go for it. And I'll put that in the internal.
People are saying Henry levers. That's not correct. It's not a Winchester 94. Come on, guys. Do you even listen to the show? He was talking about it for weeks. He annoyed the crap out of us for a week.
Yeah, it took a week for it to get here.
Email and text people.
Yeah. All right, I think we should just call it.
All those wedding toasts about the gun.
Yeah. So it's Chiappa Scorpio 357 Magnum. And for all you ladies out there, you might want to cover your eyes. I'm going to turn the camera on. There we go. So here it is. See, it's, your standard little 357 Magnum mare's leg. Standard type hoop. For the longest time, for some reason, I was thinking I'd got a Rossi with a, because I buy guns sometimes just because I get excited. So anyway.
Hey, let me see that stock, Bob.
So that part, yeah, I haven't got the full stock for it yet. See, in Canada, these are a rifle, so they're not restricted like a handgun is. And because they're considered a rifle, you can just put a full stock on it and have a 12-inch barrel carbine.
Oh yeah, that's neat. I like them like that.
Yeah. So I'm like, cool. All right, I'll buy that. I can go wander around out in the farm with that on my hip, and you know, or on a sling with a full stock on it and shoot gophers and stuff with 357 Magnum. That's going to be fun. So anyway, that's what the gun of the day is. Chiappa Mare's Leg in 357, and the model is called a Scorpio. It's really cool.
Bob has a HD. That's Canadian HD. So that's as high tech as you can get in Canada. His webcam.
Too true. Yeah. Well, I don't have my bandwidth turned up or anything like that because then it slows down. And yeah, I got lots of. Or I got kids constantly using the internet, and if I turn the bandwidth up, everything starts to lag out.
So there you go. We didn't have a winner of the Tactical Pop quiz.
No, we didn't. Which I'm really
about the
disappointed.
gun of the day, which is a Chiappa 357 Mare's Leg.
Mm-hmm.
But Bob got mailed or directly to his house.
Yeah, came to my house, and I saved myself $32 in shipping. I just bought 1,000 rounds of 357 Magnum jacketed hollow point, so it saved me, you know, $30 in shipping. Made perfect sense to me at the time.
Oh, well, look who's out in the audience asking if they can win the Tactical Pop quiz.
Who's that?
Oh, someone we know.
Oh.
No, well, you're not
But
gonna,
I'd say if you get the right answer, you could win.
yeah, but I don't think they're gonna win. Well, unless they already heard it.
Yeah, it doesn't count now. It's over.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. Okay. Let's carry on. What do we got? Anything left?
Got some history. So today, 1794. Well, March 14th. 1794. Where'd it go? 1794. Eli Whitney received the patent for the cotton gin. Cotton gin. Eli Whitney. 1794.
After a certain somebody.
What? You talking about coal?
A little bit.
Yeah, that would be an interesting subject. I'm trying to. This other stuff is all that interesting. There's all kinds of actually stuff that happened today, but it's not really gun related as much as just interesting stuff. But we do have one thing that's today. 314. Oh, here, look at this. 34. Today, March 14th, 314, 1934. Eugene Cernan was born. He's the last guy to walk on the moon. And I forget who it is now.
Supposedly.
Well, my aunt, or else my grandma's aunt, babysitted him. So when he went up there, they used to take dimes and patches. Anyway, long story short, I have a patch that was on the moon. At least I was told it was on the moon because it came from him. So it was kind of neat, and he was born today.
That's kind of cool.
But today is 313, which means it is 3-14.
Yeah.
That's right, it's Pi Day.
Pi. Yeah. Today is Pi Day.
Depending on what part of the country you live in, or tomorrow, depending on where you live.
I was gonna say, yeah, we normally go with the date that the night the show starts. So
we play with time here and
okay.
Count either side.
I mean, I agree. I'm in Pi Day for sure.
So, are you planning on doing anything for Pi Day?
I'll probably eat a pie, or not. I don't know.
Kind of
I wasn't really planning on anything. You know, I really got burned out after 2015 because that was like the best Pi Day.
3.1415, and if you went to the right time, you could get pretty far.
Yeah, at 9 o'clock. I forget. That's all I know. I know 3.14159. I forget what comes after 9, but I remember like figuring it out and then doing something at 9:23 or whatever.
So the 13th, though, one that we didn't talk about yesterday because the abbreviated show was today has been Canine Veterans Day. So 1942 was the official birthday of the U.S. Canine Corps. So that's when we celebrate them on the 13th of every year. and I always celebrate.
I think that's really cool. And I don't know, a lot of people probably don't know the story, but in World War II, a lot of kids volunteered their dogs.
Kids, yeah. Almost all the dogs from World War II were from families. And look at the pictures from Iwo Jima. Most of them are Dobermans. Because they were better dogs than any other dogs. And they kept us free.
It's actually not true, but they did use a lot of Dobermans. They were really good snipers.
Then bring up any history. I've got history.
German Shepherds, man. They use lots of German Shepherds.
I've got links on Iwo Jima specifically.
Oh, okay. On that island, yes. Okay. I must have missed that part. I meant during World War II, they used lots of other than Dobermans, but Dobermans were heroic dogs.
Yeah. Anyway, so A9 Day, and there's a couple of things happening over on Instagram. It's worth checking out. If you follow any of the working dog places, even the services all had one for their working dogs.
Yeah. Well, dogs have been a wonderful. I mean, and they have been in the military since pretty much the beginning of time. I mean, there's all kinds of stories of
the Romans and stuff, right?
Yeah.
In fact, more horses, they carried around dudes, right?
Yeah. Well, they also had, even when there was horses, they had dogs. I can't remember which ones maybe it was the Afghans were trained to, the Afghan wolfhounds were trained to actually take down knights. And they would just go and attack the horse or the rider and pull the rider off the horse. No, that was it. They would pull the rider off the horse. They were trained to do this. And once that cavalryman was dismounted, he was easy to kill, right? But when he's on horseback, it's pretty scary because he's on an 1,800-pound animal that's trained to stomp on you. So, yeah, really, dogs have been part of military history for centuries and eons, probably. And I love dogs, obviously. I put up with a furry monster.
Yeah, Bob's definitely static happening. It's amazing with that quality of camera. Somehow he has audio static too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found it interesting, and it's a little editorialized, which I find interesting. But in oh, what the heck? I'm on the wrong date. But anyways, in 1911, it's actually on the 11th. I don't know. I typed in the 13th, but the Cadillac division demonstrated the first electric starter, enabling women to drive alone. Like, what? You saying women can't do the crank thing? I know plenty of strong women that'd be like, nah, screw that. I can crank my car up.
Well, not in those days, Maggie. There wasn't that many. There were probably some farm women who did, but like city women, oh,
I'm just saying, on a website that's supposed to be like this day in history, I don't know why you would editorialize that.
It would have been much more accurate and less sexist to say that electric starters enabled 9mm shooters to actually drive by themselves. Because that would hit both sexes.
They really weren't that hard to start. It was just a matter of you had to be careful or it could break your arm. And, you know, apparently...
Well, to be honest, I bet you that is how Cadillac, like, advertised it. That's probably why they demonstrated
it. Oh, hell yeah.
Like, oh, look, this is neat for women now. Because they were like that back then.
You want to know, like, Henry Ford's wife drove a Baker electric car for her car. Like, he made her get a Model T, and she wouldn't get it until it got an electric starter because she just didn't want to have to start it. Women didn't like doing that shit back in those days. They still don't like doing that shit. There's lots of women, break a nail.
Okay, whatever. Anyways, that's not necessarily gun-related history. I'm sorry I brought it up.
Yeah, you should be. It's your fault. Yeah. God, I like having you back here, Smeggy.
Okay.
Can you imagine if we would have had a feline corps?
Oh, no kidding. Like cats?
You know, that wouldn't be half bad. You just let them go and then, like, never go pick them back up, and they just, like, terrorize the country.
I feel like all the army shit would have been on the table, like they would, or on the floor. They would have knocked everything off the table, and then we would have lost every war because they would just sat there.
Nah, man, think about it. You could have, if a well-trained cat could infiltrate any enemy camp and learn all their secrets,
and then come back and not tell us. Just be like, oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, it'd be like, I know, but I'm not going to tell you. Yeah, well, cats are jerks. Dogs can be
jerks. In 1942, Julia Bickel of the Nurse Corps became the first woman colonel in the U.S. Army.
Yeah, but we'd already let them vote, so it was pretty much over by then anyway.
And 57 Hoffa was arrested. That's not gun related either, really.
Yes, because we don't even know if he's really dead or, well, I guess he's dead by now, but he just disappeared.
In 69, Apollo 9 splashed down.
Today? You're getting all this from today's history?
Yeah.
Man, my history page is weak.
Yeah, I found this new one on my phone. I'm just scrolling through it. There's a bunch of weird stuff too, but
Well, mine's a bunch of like a lot of battles, which are sometimes interesting, but mostly not interesting. And then a lot of like political stupid things like so and so was elected to this and that, or some dumb thing that I don't care about, and almost nothing compared to guns. So if you find a better one, throw it in there if you would. 'Cause the one I got, I think Pawnery used to use it, but he uses other ones also because this one almost never has gun stuff. It just sometimes has interesting military stuff. All right, so yeah, tomorrow's Pie Day. Looks like Pants is eating shepherd's pie, which isn't pie, but
Yes, it is. And it's good pie.
eat the pie then? Is the pie count? Does a moon pie count?
I don't even know what a moon pie is, really.
More like a snack cake that's in a piece of plastic. It's like a donut or something. It's not really a
Like, what are they called? What are those things called? The guy was looking for in the movie.
like a ding dong, I think. It's like
Ding dong. Yeah, yeah. That's what I was going to say. Like a ding dong?
just
Yeah. Those are disgusting.
squished. But anyway, it's called a pie, and it ain't a pie.
No, that's just disgusting.
All right,
No,
so
a real pie is cool. I think, yeah, I'll probably have a real pie.
so what do you call it? A real pie? What do you call it? A
Like
real
a pie, you know, like 12
Coconut.
inches in diameter.
Coconut pie? Chocolate cream pie?
No, I mean something like a key lime or a meringue or a pumpkin or an apple or a cherry, you know, like a pie.
Bobby don't like French silk.
I don't mind French silk. Depends on who's ordering it.
Don't they got that like right next door to you?
French silk?
Yeah.
Is it France?
No, we got Quebec, but that's not France. That's like the dirty armpit of France. It's, yeah. Ugh.
Jimmy.
Horrible place.
Jimmy, you partaking in Pie Day tomorrow?
Oh yeah.
What kind of pie?
Yeah,
you
but you guys are doing it like suckers and trying to pick a pie. I'm gonna go and get a bunch of those mini pies, different flavors, get some apple. Hopefully I can find some pumpkin. Maybe might even get a moon pie. I don't know.
Hold on. Number one, you're not going to find a pumpkin pie. I don't pay that much attention, but I noticed that they still haven't ever had any pumpkin pies out there. So there's some sort of conspiracy. But number two, just be careful dabbling in them tiny pies, man.
Yeah, they almost killed you, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, no. The tiny pies, I'm not going to blame the tiny pie. I'm blaming Pink Panther specifically for sending me like 700,000 of those pies. That almost did.
Yeah. See, I'm gonna have maybe 5. I don't think that's enough to get me shit.
That's like 250. That's like 250. That's not even a regular slice of pie at like a fancy. What if you went to a fancy place?
I'm going to have like a regular sized pie. I'm just going to choose a pie and buy it. And I'm going to eat it for supper.
Smeggy. Eating a pie tomorrow? Mud pie? Some kind of ice cream pie?
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
Or no, wait, you can't eat ice cream pie, ironically.
I thought you were doing that on purpose just to rub it in. Thank you very much.
No, I was going with the whole snowman thing because ice cream pie would have been cold.
Oh, yeah. You know, here's the thing though. I might, as long as I just scratch out the rest of my day's plans, like I could have an ice cream pie. Good. Sometimes I'll do it. You know, it's worth
The day of the
pain
toilet.
afterwards. But otherwise, I'll probably.
Anyway, on that note,
I really like apple pie, so that might be my go-to.
I think on that note, we should wrap the show up.
Fuck me, I don't get to talk about pie. That's right. Let's get this.
No, I'm just
I wanted to hear about
Smeggy's talking about his bowel movements, and I just
I
think-
never once said that.
no
I
you
said that. I implied that, and
I
that's
know,
all.
yeah.
I keep it classy.
Oh,
Since I was trying to stifle my pie, I feel like I should say I'm gonna go get some kind of vegan pie. Then I'm gonna get some kind of pie that has no dead animal in it at all.
oh
not
God, that's
finding a pie like
disgusting.
that.
I tried a, oh, I don't know, something vegan that was, oh, and they tried to tell me it was this.
Well,
And it's like, that's not even like that. That's something totally different. It's
He considers just the mention of vegan like us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say every pie Bob mentioned didn't have meat in it, so it would have been a vegan pie, right?
pie, shepherd's pie. No,
Here,
vegan stuff can't even have animal fat, so you can't use shortening and stuff. It's like,
If Bob's gonna eat a cherry pie, he insists that some small animals killed in the process.
Yeah, that's
You know
that's
what?
how you get the
The
juices.
pie just has to be sacrificed to the pie.
so I like the whole idea of blackbird pie. But that's really hard to get nowadays.
Is that a thing, or is that just from cartoons? Because I think that's just
No, that was a real thing back in the day. They used to put songbirds in pies and make a pie with songbirds.
that's disgusting.
And then they like fly out when they were done and stuff.
No, they actually never flew out. That was the fairy tale part, was they flew out. But yeah, they did actually make like pies with any kind of bird they could kill. That was the day.
You know that
Right?
in 2008, Florida Senate passed a bill that could mean suspension for students with, and these are quotes, droopy britches. Yeah, so Florida banned sagging pants in 2008.
Good for them.
God, talk about big government.
Yeah, because who cares about if that's First Amendment or nothing?
Not First Amendment. It's like that's just
You're not allowed to.
coffee. It's disgusting. Just pull your fucking pants up, put a belt on. Like Jesus. Nobody needs to see your underwear. Like that's ridiculous.
And I only get suspended for it. And I don't think the state Senate should have any say in that either. Like,
Really? So you don't think that a school can have a dress policy or something that says you can't, you
School's
know,
different than a state, I think.
I don't know.
right?
Well, it
Yeah,
says you can't walk around dressed like in lingerie, right? I think that would be. Oh God, I must be getting old.
Yeah, you're
Never mind.
weird. But
Yeah, never
yes,
mind.
I do not think a state needs to write a law about saggy pants or not. You mentioned, does school have a dress code? Sure. I know places that have uniforms. Okay, it is what it is. If you want to, wear khakis and a button-up shirt, that's what you have to do. But I don't think the Senate, it's a waste of time and money. It's ridiculous.
No, I'm actually coming around to your idea. You convinced me. I agree.
Okay, good.
I've been ridiculous.
So do we have a gun shop for the day? Or are we still talking pies? G-Webs, did we ever able to talk about your pie?
Oh,
Hey,
I
Bob's on you.
used my pie segment to lash out at Bob with the vegan pie. Yeah.
Right, but I didn't know if you had like another answer or if you were just
Oh no, I'm
harassing Bob.
I did it. I'm appalled. I'm ill at the concept of eating a pie tomorrow. Although after I said coconut pie, I forgot about coconut pie. So I'm trying to wonder if there's some kind of coconut pie option. But I haven't seen coconut pie in a while. Besides at like a breakfast place sometimes that does like breakfast and lunch, sometimes they'll have a coconut pie.
Wait, like a pie with just coconut in it?
I think what I'm thinking of is the old restaurants back in the day that would have like pie. I forget what it was called. There was like a restaurant back in the day and it was like its thing was pie. And you go there and eat regular food, but then everybody would eat pie. What was the name of that restaurant? It was like a chain. It was like Chili's or something, except it was like pie. You remember what I'm talking about?
No.
People would go there and just buy a pie and bring it home, or else you'd go there and eat dinner.
Oh, are you talking about like crap? Baker Square?
I don't remember, but you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like
Yeah,
Chili's,
yes.
but they have pies there. They might still have them. I don't know. But anyway, when I was a kid, we'd go to one of them, and it was one of these like fake pies that come out of that place. So it's like probably from a freezer, but it was, I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't like what's that one other tiny pie, the pecan pie. It's not like that. It's not like thin and like that. It's more like got a bunch of whipped cream on top and it's super thick and it's almost like pudding with coconut in it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
And then you can't even hardly tell where the coconut part stops, and then it turns into whipped cream for like a couple inches, and it's really thick. It's almost like pudding. Maybe I should have described
It's
it.
it's like that. It's like a solidified rice pudding kind of.
Yeah, there you go. It's more solid than pudding. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if those places exist, but I forgot about that kind of pie. Although it still makes me kind of queasy to think about eating that pie right now. I guess it's coconut cream pie. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so now that we got the pie all sorted out, how about we do the gun shop of the day?
Sweet.
It's roll call in Pennsylvania again, so I don't know how that got in there again, unless it got accidentally jabbed in there, poked in there. But that's the place I met up with Angry when he was leaving Pennsylvania. We've talked about it before.
So meeting
Oh,
you
yeah,
made him
yeah.
leave the entire state.
What?
Meeting you made him leave the entire state. He's like, I just gotta get out of here.
No, he was moving to Arizona. He lives right next. Well, he lives with Heavy right now, and he was literally leaving that night. And we met up at this place. We just looked at it. It's got the. I'm trying to find the target that looks like a person holding a cell phone. Everybody remembers that picture.
Oh yeah, we have seen that. I remember that because it like flips either way, right? Because the other side's like a guy with a gun.
I don't even know. I think it just goes edgewise to you, so that it's a shoot no shoot, depending on if it's showing you or not. I don't know if it flips 180. That would be interesting. If it flipped 180, I guess you wouldn't be able to flip it back and forth because you wouldn't know which holes were which, right? Or I guess it'd be difficult to tell which holes are which. But I guess if one's a no shoot like this, then any holes would be bad.
Right. I guess I've just seen one where you're right. It's on edgewise, and then it flips to the right, and it's that picture, or it flips to the left, and it's a guy with a gun.
It could,
So
yeah.
it not necessarily goes 180, but it does go either direction. But anyways,
Maybe get
okay.
some of
So
those
that's the
targets.
gun shop of the day.
Yeah, so that was our gun shop. Every day we're trying to feature a gun shop, and hopefully we'll do a lot more. And I don't know, nobody's been reading emails, so I know that every once in a while somebody will say out there about that they recommended something or they suggested something. So yeah, we appreciate that. Anybody who wants to continue to do so, every once in a while we do that in batches. So we may act like we don't have anything over there. That's just because Jimmy only does it and we don't know. But it's dailygunshow@gmail.com.
All right. So I guess we can wrap this thing up now.
Dawn does make red dish soap. I've seen it before.
Ay.
How is technically Red Dawn a pie? Does Red Dawn pod? Is there a Red Dawn pod? Or dishes? Like a dishwasher?
I think there may be a Red Dawn pod.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, probably.
Like for the dishwasher.
Maybe like cinnamon Red Dawn or something. I don't know.
Well, I was thinking Cherry Red Dawn pod.
Yeah. That makes more sense for laundry.
Is my mic off?
All right, go ahead, Bob.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. We're
Also, we're gonna have some-
over time.
We're gonna have some
Over
new
an hour.
We're gonna have some
Over
new
an hour.
We're gonna have some new stuff in the store tonight too.
Do a
We
quote by
may.
Voltaire. Let's do a quote by Voltaire.
Go ahead, crackle out that quote, Bob. Go ahead.
All right. And I'm just going to do the quote. Common sense is not so common. No reflection on anything else right now?
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.
This is an incredibly long ad that it won't let me bypass. So,
Black Betty, bam the lamb, one Black Betty, bam the lamb, Black Betty had a child, bam the lamb, the damn thing go wild, bam the lamb, said, well, not a mind.